day. All right, it is rainy and dreary, but we're still gonna go out and make some magic happen. So, of course, as always, we have fires we gotta put out. But first, we're gonna go to a property. A friend of mine who's an investor is looking for something, and another friend of mine has a property that he thinks can offload relatively at a good price. So we're gonna start our day heading to Madison. We're gonna look at this property, see what we think, and then from there we're gonna go to our two other sites, and that's gonna give us a game plan, because we've had a lot of issues the last couple days. So let's go to this first one, and then we'll get it started. This is actually nicer than I'm used to. So it's got it looks like it's got I mean, obviously the brick on the outside, the roof is in super good shape. It's got a detached garage. It's in, I mean, Caleb's trying to get us in right now, but it looks pretty nice. So. Okay, so you got some cracks, but they're manageable. So I'm noticing around. Anyway, I'm noticing around a lot of these windows there's cracks up and down, which isn't the end of the world as long as there's not any major foundational issues. But there are a few of those. But you got that, you got this, you got boom. But really, I'm not really too worried on it. As long as it can be repaired and you don't have to get USS or one of those companies that's going to charge you 50 grand, I think we'll be fine. All right, we're going to go back to Lishi Avenue first, and then if we can get in, we'll come back later. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would make it hurt if we're going to make the 1% favor. I want it to be 10%, at least non-refundable. That's what I would want. Alright, so we're here at Lishi. We've been here for a minute trying to wrap our heads around what we need to do. Here's the problem. This is an old house, super old house. So every time you rip something up, you find more problems. So at some point, you got to stop ripping stuff up. But when we pulled this up, or when we started to look into it, we realized a lot of these main beams were just completely gone. They're rotten. So we had to pull it out. Well, we can't pull that out without replacing the floor. So that's how we got here. So now we've replaced this entire side. Well, over here on the other side, that's where all of the boards got snapped. We talked about that in the last video. Well, when we pulled that up, now we get into the old cellar, if you will, and the dirt's kind of caving in. So now we got to figure out how do we stop the dirt from getting any worse. So we're just trying to figure out, all right, we got to do this efficiently. We got to make sure that, we just don't keep digging and digging and digging, because then we're going to keep having problems. So right now we're trying to, we talked about how we're going to secure that wall over here. And then from there, we got to get this thing ready so that the plumber can come in and do their thing, right? And then we can put the subfloor back down. And then from there, he'll have to come back and come through the walls and run all the drain and that kind of thing. So it's a little bit of a tricky process. And again, we're up against the budget, so we got to figure out how do we do this and stay on budget. So at this point, we're trying to get it back to a point where we can do rough ends. So that's where we are. Somebody asked me the other day, why do you keep doing all these hard ones? I guess I'm a glutton for punishment, but it is fun being able to go in here, do what other people have, struggle doing or can't do, and then boom, we make it look awesome. So we've got a plan. We know what we're doing. From here, we're going to head on, probably look at North 2nd. I don't think there's been a ton done there, but and then we'll start heading back to Wilson. So something that I've been thinking about a lot, Nate and I have been kind of talking through this concept lately, and it really comes down to this. When you're growing a business, okay, you guys, we've talked about the idea of, like, you sit down and you think about all the different components, all the different pillars of the business, if you will. All right, and so I'm gonna try to kind of explain it as we're driving, but imagine a wheel, okay? And every spoke of that wheel is a different component of the business. So on one spoke, you've got leads, right? Another spoke, you're looking at, you know, this is actual operations, right? So the back end, this is what Nate does, you know. And then you get, at least in my world, in the construction world, another spoke may be actually manpower and the crew to get things done. Then you got the financials. Well, all of these different departments or aspects of the business, if they represent a wheel, as you're growing, you have to make sure that there's not one part of the wheel that grows too fast, right? Or doesn't lag too far behind. So I mean, if you think about, like, when I started this back in what, December, 3 months ago, right at 3 months ago, my top of the list thing, hey, this is what we need to do, this is where we need to go, is sales, right? So I set out, all right, I'm gonna go out and bring in as much business as possible. Well, thankfully that's worked, and we brought in a ton. So that spoke grew, right? And now we've come to this point where we have more work than we can handle right now. And so now we've realized that the operations piece is the next focus we've got to do, because it doesn't matter if we have $500,000 worth of work. If we don't have the manpower to get that done, then it's not, it doesn't matter how many leads we have, right? It doesn't matter how much we have in the pipeline. And so if you think about what would happen if the operations side, you get too much on the operations without the sales, then your overhead is going to be way too high, because you don't have the sales and you don't have the work to support it. In the same way, if you have more sales coming in than you can actually handle, well, then, you know, you're going to have unhappy clients. You're going to not be able to get what you need to get done, and ultimately you're going to hurt your reputation. Or maybe you get to the point where your sales are good, your ops are good, but your financials are lagging behind. You don't have the infrastructure in place to keep up with the financials. Look, all of these things are important. And it's important that as you're growing, you make sure that these things are growing at the same pace, right? If you don't, it's kind of like a wheel, you know, it's going to cause you problems in growth. So just think about it. What are the core components of your business? And then what needs the most attention at any given time? So operations are it. Nate and I was sitting here, you know, we talked for I think 3 or 4 hours the other day just on how do we get better at operations, because for me, I know operations are going to be the key to massive growth in this business. Anyway, that's just the things that I've been thinking through. I've got to take back Nate now. We were going to go to Smith County, but I don't know how that's going to happen. So we're taking back Nate, then I'm going back to Nashville. I got to jump on a call with the client, because obviously Lishy is you know, got a lot going on. We need to fill him in on our decisions on what we got to do, and then from there we're going to tie it up. So anyway, love you guys. Think about it. Excited about how much growth we're seeing, and until next time, go make some magic happen.